Hi there, my name is Lo. Welcome to my channel where I discuss everything between Hermes and grocery bags. Today I am reporting to you from this side of the sofa. That is because my cat has taken residence on the other end, as you might be able to tell. But I am back with another video, and even though I'm hopelessly behind on all the videos that I got tagged to do, today I actually wanted to discuss a topic and see if there were other people interested in sharing about it too. So all of my YouTube friends should be linked down below if you haven't been tagged, but also want to discuss this topic. Of course, feel free to do so. Make sure to mention me because I'm super curious to hear your thoughts and experiences. So the topic I wanted to discuss today is, what do you miss out on related to where you live when it comes to luxury? And I do feel that it comes up once every so often when people talk about prices or stock of items where they live, and it's made me realize that there's also some things that I feel I miss out on, although there are some other things that are also really good in these terms, so I definitely also want to touch upon those. Probably needless to say, these are just first world problems, right? This is just a discussion for the fun of it. I do not actually suffer from missing out on these things, but I am kind of curious to know what it's like for other people around the world buying and experiencing luxury. I live in the Netherlands. It is only a small country, so I don't really want to be all that much more specific than that, but because it is also that small, it makes perfect sense to discuss as a region for this video. So without further ado, let's get started. Just in general, I would have to say that the Netherlands is really not an amazing place for luxury. First of all, it's only a tiny country. We're at around 17.5 million inhabitants at this point in time, but I think perhaps more importantly, we also don't really have this culture of luxury. Dutch people are known to be frugal. It's not very much in our culture to stand out or show off your wealth, and of course I'm stereotyping here a little bit, but I think compared to other cultures, there's just relatively little interest, I would say, in fashion and luxury and those types of things. So how does that reflect more practically? There's a number of things that I think are quite common in other countries, but please, of course, do feel free to correct because I haven't traveled around a lot. But first of all, there's just not a lot of boutiques around. I think if you want to buy luxury, you're probably best off in Amsterdam, our capital. We have the Bijenkorf, which is a luxury department store, so to say, or at least they also sell luxury items. Within their flagship store in Amsterdam, they have a number of boutiques like Louis Vuitton and Gucci and even Hermes, Tiffany's. They might have a couple of those in other cities, but altogether it is really not all that much. So some other things that we don't really have around here is like the cool stuff that I see pop up now more often. So things like pop-up stores, cafes, beach clubs, I think you even see in some countries. Occasionally the Bijenkorf will have a pop-up store of some luxury brands, but I think when it comes to cafes or beach clubs or that type of thing, I don't really think we have anything at all. What is also quite limited around here is outlet stores. So we do have a number of outlet centers, but they are really targeted more towards the contemporary or high street type of brands. Also, the deals are not all that amazing, so I can become a bit jealous if I see other content creators browsing around Nordstrom Rack and finding the most amazing deals. And then last, in terms of places where I can buy luxury, I feel like we don't really have a superfluous resale market. There's, I guess, a couple of places in the Netherlands, either brick and mortar stores or online, that do sell pre-loved items. When it comes to the consignment stores, I do feel that they are heavily oriented towards Chanel and Louis Vuitton. I haven't really looked all that much into buying from places like Versace Collective. I do think that they operate in Europe, but there's a lot of other big platforms within the resale market that don't actually operate in Europe. So thinking about the RealReal, for example. I do have to admit that I'm quite cautious when it comes to buying pre-loved bags because of authenticity mostly, but having this limited supply of places where you can actually buy pre-loved items, of course, doesn't really help. And then one final thing that I do really feel I'm missing out on, and that is a number of American brands. I think mostly Dooney & Bourke because I see so many videos about that, but it's also Portland leather goods. I had it with Nagedi. They make these beautifully woven bags out of neoprene. A lot of these places in the United States, they will either not ship to Europe or it becomes very expensive to ship to Europe. And I haven't really found anything I love that much much that I am happy to ship it over to the Netherlands. I have no idea what it is like for other countries, obviously, but I find it very, very expensive to import things from outside of the EU. When I ordered my Aspinall of London Mayfair bag, they actually accidentally charged me all of the import duties and fees and everything, and it was about 30% additional on the purchase price, so that has really made me reconsider importing anything at all in the future. And perhaps this is just, again, my very European perspective, but I do feel that European brands are more likely to cater to American customers or North American customers, for example, than North American brands are likely to cater to European customers, perhaps because they already have such a large market from where they operate. So talking about the positives of living here, yeah, I do have to miss out on a number of American brands which I would really like to try, but there's a world of opportunity of trying European brands. The Netherlands in itself doesn't really have a lot of exciting brands when it comes to bags. Wandler, I would say, is probably the only brand we have now in the higher segment when it comes to bags and leather goods. But most of the well-known brands come either from France or Italy, some come from Spain. There's a lot of leather work being done in these places as well. And living in the European Union, for me, it's very easy to import these things duty-free to my home. It's no problem for me, for example, to buy something off an Italian website, which I will occasionally do, and it will arrive to my house usually 3 or 4 days later, completely duty-free and without issues. Having all of these brands pretty close by, I suppose, will also mean that usually the availability will be better, therefore the prices will also tend to be lower. And even though there's not a lot of luxury boutiques in the Netherlands, if I would really want to go luxury shopping and go all out, it's only 5 hours to get to Paris from where I live, and there, of course, I could be in luxury paradise. Then one nice final thing that I want to touch upon is that consumer protection in the Netherlands is really great. So sometimes I will see in videos that people buy things online and it's final sale, and I don't think you can return it then. But in the Netherlands that is forbidden, and I suppose it's European regulation, so it's probably forbidden all over Europe. If you buy something online, you always have a right to return. Actually, if you buy anything not in store, so also if you buy it over the phone, I think you have a mandatory 14 days return policy, and you can return it with whatever reason you like, because you haven't been able to view the item up front like you could in a store. Your right to return is well protected. So it is a bit different if you are buying in store. I think in that case stores are not mandatory to take your return or give you store credit or your money back, but I do even find with those things that stores are quite lenient. I don't really know about luxury stores because I don't really go into boutiques all that much over here, but I know from the Bijenkorf, for example, that if you buy something in store, you definitely have a 30-day or perhaps even longer return window, and they're happy to take back the item and give you back your money, as long as the item, of course, still is in good condition. Summarizing, the Netherlands is definitely not the luxury highlight of the world, or not even of Europe. If you are ever visiting and you want to do luxury shopping, please don't come here, just go to Paris or to Milan or London. And it does mean that I do quite a lot of my shopping online, that I don't really have a lot of options when I'm trying to go the pre-loved route. But considering the decent consumer protection and the fact that I can basically ship within the whole EU duty-free, it's not amazing, but it's also not that bad. I think the thing I would probably love for the most is if we just as a country or as a culture could embrace luxury and fashion a little bit more, because I do feel like the odd one out quite often. I pretty much don't know anybody personally who has a luxury bag collection. I do see some people sometimes at work with luxury bags, but really not all that often. And of course, I have my wonderful friends on YouTube and Instagram to share this passion with, but it would be great if I could also experience that a bit more in real life. So these are my 2 cents on the topic. I hope you found it interesting. If you have been tagged, I hope you are willing to share as well. Of course, feel free to keep it as generic as you need in terms of region, because I do appreciate that you want to safeguard your privacy. I hope you enjoyed this video. Remember, for now, there's a styling, a situation, and a taste for everything, so don't judge, wear whatever the bag you like. Until next time, or as we would say in Dutch, doei!